Bears fans, download the PointsBet app now and use code BEARS2K to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. PointsBet, the proud sportsbook partner of the Chicago Bears, is outdoing the competition in Illinois. They are live now with -105 spreads on all NFL and NBA games. That's the best odds of any sportsbook. Download the app today to experience Illinois' premium sportsbook for yourself, and don't forget to sign up with code BEARS2K to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
One of the most influential figures in the Christian conservative movement mired in an alleged sex scandal.
Welcome back to Gangster Capitalism, Season 3, Jerry Falwell Jr. and Liberty University.
We got nothing to hide. We've operated a squeaky clean organization here for decades.
Please listen and follow Gangster Capitalism, a presentation of C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio, available now for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, and wherever you get your shows.
And so hope is never a good strategy. You learn that if you're an HR person or if you're anybody that's sort of moving forward in a position of power or leadership. Hope is not a good strategy. You don't want to hope. But I'm here to tell you that I think hope might be it. It might be all they have. It might be all the Steelers can rely on because of the structure of a league. And when I say hope, I mean hope in the defensive backfield. We all know what's happening on one side of the corner, on that one boundary corner, where, or at least I think that's probably where he'll play this year, where you have Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden's going to be out there. He's going to man that side. He's going to do those things. We know what's going to happen at the safety positions, right, Chris? Minka Fitzpatrick's going to be there. He's going to play that center field position.
Terrell Edmonds lame duck here.
He'll come up and he'll be in the box sometimes. Minka Fitzpatrick is an otherworldly talent, and Terrell Edmonds is trying to fight for his NFL life, which means you might get a good season out of him, or who knows. But at least you know that a walk-in is the starter. You know that Cam Sutton's going to play that nickel, right? He's going to come in. He's going to be that guy. That'll be Cam Sutton's job because of what happened with Mike Hilton and all of that. But maybe you just got to hope on that right cornerback spot. Perhaps that's what's going to happen there, because in a cap league with what you got going on, with Lane, with Pierre, with Brooks, who knows, what else can you do? And that's the question I pose both to you, Chris Mack, and to everybody out there. What else can you do in a cap league where you seem to, if you run down the other 10 positions, you seem to pretty much have it solidified. You know your man and you know the guy, and you're pretty confident in that guy, I would think, walking in. But don't you have to borrow or hope somewhere in a capped league when you have that many positions to fill? And that's the one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're down to at this point. With the release of Nelson and the way they've built out the rest of the secondary, they're hoping and wishing and knocking on wood and all that kind of stuff that not just – and look, I liked what I saw from Cam Sutton last year. I think he's grown to a point where he can handle an increased role. I think I would have much preferred him being the third guy and maybe to Hayden and Nelson. But here nor there, that ship has sailed, so I'm not going to fight that battle anymore. But I think I'm more concerned with, we talk about the nickel corner or the slot corner like it's a starting position in the NFL today. Because to be quite honest, it is more often than not. And Mike Hilton was quality at that position. Not just because of his cover skills, but more so because he was willing to stick his nose in and get it dirty and make the plays inside the box, up at the line of scrimmage. And I don't know if we can have a ton of confidence in any of these guys. If you can have any confidence, to be quite honest, all the great things that were said about James Pierre by the coaching staff yesterday aside, James Pierre, Antoine Brooks, Trey Norwood, Lamont Wade, Arthur Mollett, Justin Lane, all these guys, Shakur Brown, it's kind of like they've said, listen, for whatever reason, we're moving on from Steven Nelson. We don't have a ton of cap space, and so we're going to take all of these things being these guys, throw them at the wall, and hope one of them sticks.
And I think that is a strategy that more teams than not have to use for at least one position in the NFL. Because if you look at the starting 22, you have probably 3 positions where you're doing that right now. Now, there's the 2 tackle positions. One can say that that's happening on offense.
Sure. Maybe
the center position, maybe. But you drafted for somebody, and hope is a bit strong of a word. I think they're pretty confident that Kendrick Green can grow into that. If not, I think they're pretty satisfied that B.J. Finney or Hassenauer will be that guy. Outside of that in the 2 tackle positions, Everywhere else on the field, I think they're confident walking onto the football field.
Right.
Every single defensive position, the other 10, they are confident with the man that they have. And I'm here to give you, and I've said this before, I'm here to tell you, and this is a hot take, and I'm fine with it, and I made it before yesterday. I think by game 5 or 6 or whatever, Pierre is just going to be a guy we look at and we go, okay, that's a starting quarterback. I'm totally fine with the guy. That's our man. Because of the things that I heard last year and the things that players had told me from the practice squad and from the workouts that guy had. And it's just going to take reps with him. And the way that the coaching staff has looked at him, not just yesterday because of some interception, but from the time that he's been in there. And a guy that they've looked at and they said, he could really help us.
And if that's the case, look, I'm rooting for one of these guys. I'll be honest. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's James Pierre. I don't care if it's Shakur Brown, any of them, Justin Lane. I'm rooting for one of them to take a hold of that position.
And I'll tell you the reason I say that is because James Pierre is 6 foot, 6'1", bordering on about 185, 190 pounds. He is the biggest and best of the guys that are the best of the rest, and they've liked his athleticism from the time that he's walked in the door. I think James, and I'm just here to say, it's my opinion, I think James Pierre is going to be a really good NFL player for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, and I hope you're right. I do, but I think it will be interesting to see the trickle-down effect of not just, let's assume he or anybody else takes a hold of that position going forward. There is a difference between what Mike Hilton did, and I know Mike Tomlin talked at length yesterday about how, hey, personnel is not going to dictate what we do on defense. We do what we do, and that slot corner position is going to be counted on to provide pressure when we're in that sub package. But again, the nickel package is not much of a sub package anymore. It's as close to a starting package as it can be. It's played nearly 50% of the time in some games. And you need the person, whoever it is in that position.
Right.
It's James Pierre. Again, I'm not going to run down the whole list of guys. Justin Lane, et al. All of them. You need that guy to play a Mike Hilton-style role in that defense and be willing to stick his nose in, be willing to blitz off the corner. And I'll be curious to see how many of the guys in the running for this position are up to that task.
Yeah, and I always go back to whenever Mike Hilton was infused in there, they were hoping Mike Hilton would be good. And he
paid off.
And
yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
So you have to, in a cap league, and that's the part where personnel procurement and the guys, and they haven't been good procuring defensive backs, but you have to now count Mike Hilton as one of those guys. It's been more to the point corners, but you have to count Mike Hilton as one of those guys. They haven't been good doing that, but this is where player personnel guys and scouts come in, and I'm just told they're sky high and have been on James Pierre. We'll see how it turns out, but again, this one problem that the Steelers have on defense, I don't think it's just indigenous to the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you have a capped league, you're always going to have a deficiency just because of the structure of it. And especially when you have a quarterback making so much of the money, and even one that's taking a pay cut, that's just the way that it's going to work. You've got to mix and match and figure it all out. All right, coming up next, somebody is now believable. You know, this story has gone back, it's gone forth, it's gone back, it's gone forth. And now there's a big hammer in today's Boston Globe. Wait till you hear the latest in the whole whale man story. Yeah, and it just saw it a second ago. All right, here we go. Brought to you by Matt Mertz Plumbing, Pittsburgh's leader in trenchless sewer repair. So, the guy that was swallowed by the whale. Now, Boston Globe story today. There have been a bunch of people that have not believed him. Mm-hmm. So, an unidentified Massachusetts lobsterman of 44 years told the Post, I should say, people who are in the fishing industry and people who know whales are finding this hard to believe. It's a first ever that would have happened. So, local scuba divers say that Packard's confrontation, the man is named Michael Packard, with a massive mammal, although rare, and his condition afterward are definitely plausible, and they take him for his word. Other people are doing this now. The people that are on the inside are saying this. So his crewmate came out, and he said, I've talked to a lot of people that we are out on boats with every day, right? And here's the deal. I'm going to dispel that this is a tall tale after talking to a bunch of people down on the dock, right? Somebody had to take this position, and I'm going to tell you what the position is. within a sort of group of elite fishermen, which we are, even until today, there's sort of a code that's unspoken where these guys, our guys, we just don't embellish stuff, you know? We always underestimate our catch, you know, how rough it was out there, any of the drama, that stuff, that kind of stuff out there. So, someone like Michael, because, you know, if it happened to some Yahoo, basically, all we'd be doing is arguing about whether it really happened or not. And there's been very little of that, and for obvious reason, around this dock.
So he's saying
because
the lobster guys down on the docks say that they believe this guy.
Correct.
Just because he's been around forever.
It's like it would be like a baseball player saying, nobody saw this, but I did this. Mm-hmm. And the fans being like, come on, you didn't do this. And the guys in a clubhouse being like, yeah, I'm a baseball player. I can believe it because there's a code. I don't believe this guy.
I don't either.
I don't believe this guy for 1 minute. Now, he couldn't be a breach for comment. I think he was on Jimmy Kimmel or he was on one of those shows.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just because some of his buddies from the docks say that, oh, no, I mean,
There's
why
a
would
code.
he embellish?
There's a code.
Yeah, no. Yeah, sorry. I'm not buying it anymore.
There's a code, apparently. So
ended up in a whale's mouth.
That's what he says. And now there's a doctor who did not treat him but works at the same hospital, right? In NBC 10 Boston in Provincetown. Got in touch with this doctor, and the doctor works at the same hospital where he was treated but didn't treat him as a patient, told a newspaper and several other people that he should have suffered more serious injuries like hearing loss due to the change in water pressure because of the way that it was rapid. He reportedly ascended from a 45-foot depth in 20 to 40 seconds and didn't have any evidence of barotrauma? Come on. That's what the doctor said.
The doctor said, yep.
So the doctor says, I don't believe it. All the guys that are lobstermen that are down by the same dock say, we have a code.
I'll take the doctor's word for it. How about that? It's a great story. It's just not true.
Yes.
He fell off the boat.
If you made me take one side or the other, I'm saying no way.
No. He fell off the boat, somehow ended up really deep in the water, and then came to the surface, and that's that. He wasn't in a whale's mouth.
Now, I would feel bad if it really did happen and nobody believes the guy. That would be crazy.
You know what? I'd be totally satisfied. I'll be honest. If I were the guy that ended up in a whale's mouth and no one believed me, I'd be like, you know what? I guess I shouldn't have expected anybody to believe this.
Right,
anyway.
It's so crazy.
But it's my story, and I'm going to go to the grave telling it to my grandkids. And you can call me crazy, but it happened.
I'm sticking to it, and yeah, it is what it is.
That's the one thing he can't do. Whether it's true or not, he can never back off.
He can't
of it.
lie. When he talks to St. Peter, and then eventually the big man, he can't lie to him.
My son?
He can't lie to him.
I have a question for you.
Big lobster man in the sky.
That story about the whale, is it true? I swear to God, St. Peter.
Yeah, well,
I swear to God,
Peter will say, hey, I know this guy named Jonah. You can't get one off on me here. You're not going to get one over here, pal. But, yeah, I don't believe him. I don't care what this lobsterman says, his buddies.
Is it kosher to swear to God when you get to the pearly gates?
Maybe.
I swear to God.
Maybe.
I swear to you.
Well, okay. It's me, pal. Well, you're the guy that told that lie all those years, right? Well, let's talk about that, sir.
The weather's getting warmer, and everybody wants to be outside, even your smart speaker. Crank up your favorite Odyssey stations on your Amazon Echo, Google Nest, or Apple HomePod at the pool or while you're grilling. Get your summer soundtrack from stations across the USA, from top 40 to rock, R&B to country. It's all here on Odyssey. Play your favorite station at your command, hands-free on your smart speaker. Your summer soundtrack is part of a universe of audio on Odyssey.